Last week, I went to travel with my parents, and it turned out like this within 24 hours. I'm not exaggerating or faked crying. I had the camera to do the vlog, but I couldn't do it because I was so frustrated. So I stopped there, just record the moment, how I feel my emotions. You're probably gonna ask, what happened? Well, nothing big happened, but I'm gonna tell you the whole story and how I dealt with it. The background is, I'm not really close to my parents actually. They're basically like most of the old generation Chinese parents. Yes, the stereotype ones, who want their children to have a standard life, just like everyone else. If you don't, you're wrong. They barely hug me or tell me that they love me. There won't any quality conversation according to my memory. They fight a lot, like daily, which caused me childhood trauma which hasn't been healed completely yet. As I grow up and being independent in some way, my mom's still trying to use her negative nagging power to tell me what I should do in my life without knowing who I am, what I want, and how I feel. So I got distant from them. There are years I barely talk or message them. But then this time, why I choose to take them to travel is that I made a serious bucket list. And the first income on the paper is surprisingly this. I quit my job recently, so I have time. I previously had a serious conversation with my mom by chance. I feel like probably there's still hope to fix it and find peace between me and them. Besides, my dad had a stroke years ago, and unfortunately, he cannot express himself or see things so well. It would be really hard for the two of them to travel on their own, even if they want to. So what's holding me back? I quickly made up my mind to be this exclusive tour guide. It was okay at the beginning. We departed. So far so good. But along the way, my mom was constantly complaining of little things. The shuttle bus took so long, the food is not delicious and costly, it's too hot there, the apartment I rent is not so good. With all her frown deepened and face unhappy, showing an uncomfortable atmosphere all the time, until I was broken down. She's like a black hole of negative thoughts and complaints with no self-consciousness, 24/7. I once again remember how much I wanted to run away from her in old days. She always says that all people around are mean to her, but until today, I finally realized that it's her who started it, and she's not aware of it. So that's it. We actually didn't talk the whole afternoon until night. After we returned to the apartment I rent, after the shower, I started a serious conversation with my mom, and it took hours. We talked until I think around 4 a.m. Starting from the things that happened, why I felt like that, my emotions, feelings, and what she did gonna affect me and my dad. Obviously, my dad cannot express himself so well because of the stroke that he had, but I knew that he can feel things. Then we talk a lot more about relationships, love, well, education, background, everything. I don't know how much she understood, but then starting from the other day, I see some changes. She started to talking less, and especially not to talk about so many negative things. It's just not positive things, but it's in the middle, so it's okay. And it was so obvious that the whole atmosphere had changed completely. They smiled more often. They ate more cheerfully. My mom even shared me some stories about my grandpa, which I never heard of. That's another long story, but I feel like
they were opening up their heart a little bit more than before. The rest of the days, we just randomly decide the next place we want to go. We started with Guangzhou, but then we took a train to Shenzhen. Later, we took a ferry to Zhuhai. The weather of the whole trip is not that good. I didn't see any sunshine. The best we can get is a cloudy day, and the worst is pouring rain all day. But that's okay. That's just like life. You cannot live as you planned. Things gonna happen, and you either complain about it or you deal with it and probably enjoy it. I know that the gap is still there. I know that we probably can never understand each other and become friends. My mom has her own issues. All her understanding towards this world is based on her past experience, which is a really complicated and miserable life, with no good education nor a proper living environment due to some historic problems. And it's not only her, but all her generation. I know that the old day trauma is still there, but I can now face it and deal with it better than before by forgiveness and understanding. As for my parents, they're trying their best to adapt themselves to this new changing world, and little by little, in their own pace, accepting who I am along the way. This sounds a simple thing to many Western people, but it's definitely not easy for Chinese old generation. For me, that's called love.
Well, there are so many more I want to share about the family of origin in China because there are so many problems, but I'll leave it to next time. This is just my own thoughts and experience, but I hope this video is going to help someone just like me suffered from their family, but they're trying to solve problems or at least trying to deal with it. My suggestion would be communicate when the time comes. But I know many of the cases that communication is not going to work, then just stay a safe distance with them, just like I did in the past years, but keep trying and see if it's going to work for you or not. I do hope everyone can have a happy family, but if not, keep in mind that your inner peace is most important and just stay happy with yourself.
旅程结束，拜拜。